Math 50, Section 4.6. Today I am going to show you how to simplify a complex fraction. What a complex fraction is it's a fraction that has a fraction in the numerator or the denominator, or actually both. So these are some examples of some complex fractions where you're dividing. You have a numerator and a denominator, but you have, sometimes you're going to have to simplify the numerator and the denominator before you divide. So in the last few sections, we learned how to divide fractions. So this problem, example 1, says x over 4. This division sign just simply means divide 3 over 2. So we learned, in order to simplify this complex fraction, you are dividing. So we don't divide, we flip the second fraction and multiply. So this becomes times 2/3, and you keep the first fraction the same. Now, when you're multiplying, this 2 right here, this 4 this is really 2 times 2. So you cancel each one of these 2's out, just 1 2 with 1 2 on the bottom. And then you simply multiply across. So you have just x over 3 times 2 is 6. Okay? So another example would be this one right here. This says 7y over 10. We're going to flip the 1/5, make it 5 over 1, and turn this into a multiplication problem. So 5 goes into 10 2 times, and that's all that can be simplified. So you multiply across. 7y over 2 times 1 is 2. Example 2. Here is a complex fraction where you have to actually simplify the numerator and then and simplify the denominator to get it where you have one fraction in the numerator, one fraction in the denominator. So for 1/2 plus 3/8, your common denominator is 8. So you're going to multiply this by 4, this by 4. So this is 4 over 8 plus 3 over 8, which is 7 over 8. So the numerator is 7/8. Then what you're going to do is take 3/4 and subtract 1/6. So the common denominator is 12. So you're going to take this and multiply each top and bottom by 3. So you get 9/12. Then the second fraction multiply by 2, 2/12. And 9 minus 2 is 7, and you have 7 over 12. So this is 7/8 divided by 7/12. So now we are going to keep the first fraction, 7/8. We're going to flip and multiply. And now these 7's cross out, and 4 goes into both of these. This goes in 2 times, and this goes in 3. So your answer is 3 over 2. Example 4. We have here, we've got y over 5 minus 2. This is y over 5 minus 2 over 1, all over 3 over 10. So we've got to get this to be one fraction. So multiply both of these by 5. So you have y minus 10 all over 5 over 3 over 10. So you're dividing. So you're going to keep y minus 10 over 5, and you're going to flip 10/3, turn it into a multiplication problem. 5 goes into 10 2 times, and that's all the simplifying you can do. So you're going to multiply across, which is 2 times y minus 10 over 3. And you can leave it like that, or you can write 2y minus 20 over 3. Okay, the next objective is order of operations. We are going to do order of operations with fractions. So remember, you always do what's in parentheses first, then first do any parentheses, then do exponents, and then your multiplication and division go left to right, and adding and subtracting left to right. So for this first example, 4/5 squared minus 1, this is an exponent. So the whole thing, 4/5 is squared. So this is really 4/5 times 4/5. Whoops, 4/5, which is 16 over 25. So 4/5 squared is really 4 squared, which is 16, 5 squared, 25. Now subtract 1. Now 1, you have to get a common denominator, which is 25 25ths. And now 16 minus 25 is 9, negative 9 over 25. So 16 minus 25 is negative 9 over 25. So here's another example like this. Now instead of doing 2/3 times 2/3 times 2/3, you're taking 2 and you're cubing it. So 2 cubed is 8. 3 cubed is 27 minus 2 over 1. So for this one, you're going to get a common denominator, which is 27. So multiply each of these by 27. So it's 8 minus, this is 54 over 27. And 8 minus 54 is 46 over 27. And this will be a negative because 8 minus 54 is negative 46. Example 6. Okay, again, order of operations says do what's in parentheses first. So in this first set of parentheses, in order to add these up, we got to get a common denominator, which is 12. So multiply the top and the bottom by 3 in this 4. Multiply 3 times 4 to get 12, so 2 times 4 is 8. So adding this, you get 11 twelfths. Now, get a common denominator here, which is 12. So if I turn this 4 into a 12, I'd have to multiply by 3, so multiply 1 times 3 and you get 3. 11 plus 3 is 14, 14 twelfths. And now multiply, you can multiply across, or what you could do is you could reduce, like what number goes into 12 and 14? That would be a 2. So this would be, 2 goes into 12 6 times. 2 goes into 14 7 times. And then multiplying across is a lot easier because it's 77 over 72. And that's your answer. So again, you want to get a common denominator in each. So here's another example. So for this example 6, your common denominator is 10. So multiply each of these by 5. So this is negative 5 tenths. Multiply this by 2. So this is negative 3 tenths because negative 5 plus 2 is negative 3. Now the second fraction, since the denominators are the same, you're going to just add 7 and 8. 7 and 1 is 8. This is 8 over 8. And 8 over 8 is 1. And 1 times anything is itself. So that answer would be negative 3 tenths. The last objective is how do you evaluate an algebraic expression? So here's an expression. It says 2x squared plus y squared. They want you to replace x for negative 1/2, so and y for 1/3. So 2 times negative 1/2 plus 1/3, and we're going to square it. So order of operations says do exponents first. So 1/3 times 1/3 is 1/9. And if we do multiplication, these cross out, so this becomes negative 1. And now get a common denominator, which is 9. So multiply each of these by 9. So negative 9 ninths plus 1/9 is negative 8 ninths. Okay. And here's another example of evaluating expressions. So we've got negative 3/5 minus x times y. Well, x is 3/10 and y is 2/3. So order of operations says you do the multiplication first. These 3's cross out, and 2 goes into 10 5 times. So this fraction becomes 1/5, because you have 1 on top, 5 on the bottom. So you have -3/5 minus 1/5. So it's really -3/5 plus a -1/5. We have a common denominator already. -3 minus 1 is -4/5. And that's your final answer. And that concludes section 4.6.